Hey everybody, christopherodd here, and if you've been around the channel for a while, you might remember a Gloomhaven video from just over 2 years ago, where we got to check that out in pre-early access. It was very, very early. Thanks to Asmodee Digital sponsoring this video, we're now back checking out the full release, which is going to be available on October 20th. And if you never heard of the game itself, it's a tactical RPG based on Isaac Childres' board game of the same name. If you're a board game fan, I probably don't have to explain any of this to you, but I will anyways. There are links down below, so you can check it out for yourself on either Steam or GOG. It's also got online co-op, so if you're fortunate enough to have some friends, you could buy it for them too, and further reinforce that friendship. Today we're going to be checking out the start of a brand new campaign, which is basically exactly how the board game would be. This previously wasn't available in early access, so I'm curious to see what that's like. For those that are curious as well, I did go through all of these tutorials. There's 11 of them. It took me just over an hour to go through all of these. You guys might be able to do this a little bit faster, a little bit slower, depending on if you struggle with some concepts or not. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you do the tutorial before doing anything else. It's one of the best tutorials I've ever seen in a game. It does a really good job of layering the different mechanics as you go, so it doesn't just throw everything at you. It's very well implemented, and I have to give them props for that, because that's something I look for when starting a game that can be really complex like this. So again, go through the tutorials and then go into any of these other modes that you want to. So we're gonna take a look at the campaign, as I mentioned, and I'm excited. I'm going into the campaign blind after doing the tutorial and after having played the game for like 3 or 4 hours 2 years ago. So this should be kind of fun, and I'll try to explain some of the mechanics if the game doesn't do that. But this is not going to be like a full tutorial, because we could be here a long time for that. So let's see. Let's do normal. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? -1 scenario level modifier, and then these different scenarios get modified increasingly on the higher difficulties. Let's enter a guild name, and we'll just say this is the Odd Bod Clan. All right. Each mercenary manages an individual amount of gold. Sure. Okay. Now, throughout early access, one of the things that I've noticed is they've been doing like many major updates. Obviously, you're going to do minor patches here and there.
Welcome to the harsh lands of Gloomhaven.
But they've made a ton.
You think you have what it takes to become a mercenary out there on the edge of the world? We are paid to venture into the darkest forests of the region and to step into ancient crypts with the unmistakable stench of death and rotting flesh. Lovely places to earn a name for yourself. Be ready to face cutthroats, undead, fearsome tribes, and dreadful demons from other realms. You didn't find yourself as a mercenary without knowing how to crack a few skulls, did you?
And I'm deaf. Okay, that was cool, though. I haven't seen that before. Like that. Before going into the harrowing wilderness surrounding Gloomhaven, you'll need at least 2 mercenaries in your party, brave or greedy enough to seek out adventures in exchange for gold. On the left, to find the party panel, here the basic information of the mercenaries in your party. Click on the first character slot to open the roster panel. Okay, this is nice. Even going into a brand new campaign, it's just explaining things gradually, which is like, you'd be surprised how many games don't nail that aspect, and you can just lose interest very quick because you're overwhelmed. Okay. So let's open the roster panel. We can create, view, and add mercenaries to the current party. Now it's looking as barren as the Copperneck Mountains. Little lore in there for you. So best click on the new mercenary to create your character. Let's go. So right now there's looks like 6 mercenaries, but I believe there's 17. It's 17 or 18. I think 17 in total. Each one has unique abilities and a game style. As you progress, you'll level up, earning new ability cards and unlocking more classes. In the tutorial, I think we got to experiment with almost all of these, actually. At least 4 of them. Okay, So a couple of different options. We've got the Brute here. Good choice. Now remember, looks aren't everything. Merc's ability cards are what define their actions in battle. You can click the starting ability cards button to make sure this is the right mercenary for your party. Once you're sure of your decision, hit the select mercenary button to move forward. Now, they've actually recommended starting with either the Brute, the Scoundrel, or the Tinkerer, just because the other ones are a lot more complex, and we'll probably take that advice. You can see in here, here's the starting cards for this mercenary. I'm going to explain the cards once we get into the actual game, because this is very unique to any game I've ever played. And if you're looking at this, you're like, that's a lot of action on every card. Yes, but also no. So I'll explain that in a bit. Some other little abilities here: health, starting perks, difficulty ratings. This is low. Tinkerer difficulty is medium. You can see a little bit of the backstory here, some of their strengths and weaknesses. Effective healer, decent ranged abilities, but very fragile. We've got the Scoundrel. This is really cool. They can, like, they're all over the battlefield, hitting at range. They're moving around a lot. Really fun, and totally different playstyle from the other ones. The Cragheart, he's a big tanky boy. I would say he's rated difficulty medium, based on my experience with him in the first look that I did and in the tutorial. He seems pretty decent, especially just because he's so tanky. But he might not put out as much damage as you'd like from others. So we also have the Spellweaver, who, you guessed it, casts spells. And then we have a Mind Thief. Now this guy's tricky. He shows up in the very last part 11 of the tutorial, and it's very, very cool, but I just think for this video, it might be a little bit complex trying to go through all of his abilities. But very, very neat mercenary. Often confused for a giant rat. Nice. Let's go with Brute. This should be the easiest for me to demonstrate and hopefully carry us a little bit. Let's go ahead and select this, and we'll just call this guy Walter. It is my small French bulldog's second birthday. His name is Walter. So there we go. Implement of Light. A personal quest is the mercenary's sole reason for adventuring. Once the objective is complete, the merc will retire. Oh, neat. Beware, when mercenaries retire, they will no longer be a playable character. Whoa. Okay. So he wants to find the Skullbane axe in the Necromancer's Sanctum and then use it to kill 7 living bones, corpses, or living spirits. Or he can donate 120 gold. Interesting. Though farewells can often be bitter, some things have to move on to give way to new horizons. Completing personal quests and retiring mercenaries is the primary route to unlocking new character classes. Awesome. That's a really cool mechanic, actually. So you get an unlock. Now we have to just choose here. This obviously seems way cooler. Let's choose this one. We get prosperity and we get an unlock. Now this likely is the symbol of one of the locked classes. This one being the saw, no idea. But let's go with Implement of Light. Walter has joined the party. Yes, he has. Okay. That's one merc sorted. Now you'll need a minimum of 2 before you can go seeking adventure. It's important to build a party of mercs who complement each other in battle. So we're going to click a second character slot here. And since he was kind of like our tanky boy, I think a Scoundrel could be good. We could maybe go with the Tinkerer just so that we have some healing options. He has trouble opening tight jars. He's just very fragile. And he's weaker in smaller teams. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right pick. Maybe we go here. This doesn't aid teammates. Few defensive abilities. Low melee health. We'll try and take all the gold. That's a tough call. That's a tough call. I'm going to take Tinkerer and hope that this works out for us long term. This can be Dexter. This is my 10-and-a-half-year-old English bulldog. We're going all dog names today. And we'll go with completing 4 scenarios in Gloomhaven or kill 1 flame, frost, wind, earth, night, and sun demon. This is probably a faster unlock over here, so let's choose that. But I don't know how that affects things long term, to be fair. Time to do some adventuring. If you're confident with your current party, click on the center of the map to close the party roster panel and head back to the world map. Confident is one word for it. Before heading out on your first quest, you should gear up. After all, it's your first time out in the open. You'll notice each mercenary has a modest stash of gold. It's encouraged to take that money over to the merchant's shop and spend it on anything that might just keep you from dying. Use the merchant button below to access the shop. Oh, look at him. Typical merchant. He has their own stash. Click on the right mercenaries portraits before purchasing an item. Okay, so we each have 30 gold. During your turn, you can go invisible. These are things that you can kind of cast in addition to your cards in a round. The heater shield is nice. This is not bad. When damaged by an attack, you can gain a shield, which then prevents further damage from coming in. When attack considered any ×2 attack modifier card the enemy draws to be a +0 instead. This is a little bit more of an advanced mechanic, but we'll talk about that soon. During your attack, gain advantage on the entire attack action. That could be a good option here, maybe, with Dexter. These are perks. We'll get into this a little bit later just because it's going to be kind of insane if we go into it now. What do I want to buy? There's also just some healing potions, which might be good. I think I'll grab one of these here. Walter can also grab a healing potion. And then I like the boots of striding for repositioning. Let's go ahead and take this on Walter so we can get extra movement. And then for Dexter, maybe invisibility could be good. This could be like a get out of jail free for a turn if something's looking pretty nasty. All right, let's go back to the world map. Mercenaries will unlock new and more powerful ability cards each time they level up. Look for synergies between ability cards and adapt your hand depending on the enemy types you'll be facing. Having the right cards against the right enemies might just keep you alive. On the ability panel, you can edit the deck of cards you take into a dungeon. Each mercenary has a different amount of cards they can carry and can only go adventuring with a fully equipped hand. Hover over the abilities to view their full description. In the equipment panel, you'll find different types of items a merc can carry. Clicking on an item slot will display the items of that type that the mercenary owns. Gloomhaven isn't known for its well-mannered folk and good Samaritans, but there's a lot to gain from its city streets. You can choose to partake in city encounters by clicking the button below. It's encouraged that you do this whenever you're in the city, as they often give good rewards. If you ever find a quest that looks too hard, or one you've repeatedly failed to complete, the Temple of the Great Oak can grant you its blessing for a fair price, of course. This is related to Walter's alternate story that we didn't choose, I think. You can choose to access the temple using the tree below. The first quest location is marked just north of Gloomhaven, likely up there. As you progress, more quest locations will appear on the map. To keep track of them, you can use the quest log. Click the black barrel or the entry in the quest log to select the quest. You can embark upon a quest with up to 4 mercenaries, but the more mercs you bring, the more dangerous the quest will be. Once you set out for a quest, you won't be able to change the members of your party until you return. That's really interesting. So it'll be kind of cool to see long term what's a better value if you're bringing fewer people for easier fights. Presumably your rewards are a bit higher for bringing more. As I said, you can play multiplayer as well, and I think you can go up to 4 players, and I think each will just control a party member. There's a city encounter. I'm curious to see what this is. Oh, cool. Okay. So these are kind of like choose your own adventure stories. A curious invitation slipped under your door in the early morning. It's for a wedding ceremony between the children of 2 wealthy Gloomhaven merchants. Your exploit seems to have placed you in their good graces. So they'd like you to join them on this special occasion, provided you don't show up in blood-soaked armor. For the love of Great Oak, bring a gift. Well, I spent all my money, but let's see what happens if I bring an expensive gift. Okay, we lose 5 collective gold. You are one guest of many, and everyone's having too good a time to notice your choice in gifts. That's just a kick in the, you know, I don't even know if we had gold to spend, so maybe that's why it failed. Anyway, let's head up here. Black Barrel. You can see the enemy types there. Now might be a good time to go through the mercs ability cards and inventory to make sure they're battle ready. In the quest description, you can see the enemies you'll face. Hovering over them will reveal their stats. We're just going to take the cards in as is and hope that it works.
Everyone needs to eat. Whatever your reason for coming to Gloomhaven, out here on the edge of the world, that simple fact is never going to change. A mercenary can't fight on an empty stomach.
One of the things I noticed in the tutorial as well is that the instructions are all voice acted and very well done. This is another example of pretty phenomenal voice acting.
Sarah, a Valrath woman wearing a red cloak and enough gold jewelry to keep you fed for a decade. approaches you in the Sleeping Lion and offers to pay you 10 gold coins to track down a thief and retrieve some stolen goods. Well, seems like as good an excuse as any to sober up and start paying off your tab. This thief has taken some important documents, says the red-skinned merchant, her tail whipping about in agitation. I don't care what you do to him. Just bring back what is mine. Based on Jaxera's description, it was easy enough to knock around a few alley thugs and get a location of the thieves' hideout. You don't find yourself as a mercenary way out in Gloomhaven without knowing how to crack a few skulls. So your target is the Black Barrow. Sounds like a lovely place.
What a cool setup. You'll no doubt have noticed by now that if you wanted to jump ahead, there will be timestamps in, or chapters as YouTube calls them, that you can jump through the video to get right to actual gameplay if you want. The road contains many dangers, and chief among them are the barbaric tribes of Inuks that inhabit the wilderness. Attempt to come to a peaceful resolution or attack the insulting, contemptuous Inuks. Let's see if we can get to a peaceful resolution. You've been cursed. That's not good. Don't love that. Don't love that. Lesson learned. Just battle.
To find. A short journey past the new market gate, and you see it jutting out on the edge of the corpse wood, looking like a rat under a rug. Moving closer, you see the mound is formed from a black earth. Its small, overgrown entrance presents a worn set of stone stairs leading down into the darkness. As you descend, you gratefully notice light emanating from below. Unfortunately, the light is accompanied by the unmistakable stench of death. You contemplate what kind of thieves would make their camp in such a horrid place as you reach the bottom of the steps. Here, you find your answer. A rough group of cutthroats who don't seem to have taken very kindly to your sudden appearance. One in the back matches the description of your quarry.
Okay, before entering a dungeon, each mercenary must choose one out of 2 battle goals. A battle goal is a secret objective the mercenary tries to complete inside the dungeon. Failing it has no drawback, but successfully completing it in the scenario will earn the character the rewards shown. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Your health at the end of a scenario is equal to 2 or less. Gain 13 or more experience points during the scenario, and then you'll get a perk point. That's probably better for me to try and balance. Professional, use your equipped items a number of times equal to or greater than your level plus 2 during the scenario. So I'm level 1, so we'd have to use it 3 times. Have 5 or more total cards in your hand and discard at the end of the scenario. Okay, let's go professional here. Now, here's where things are going to get crazy.
Take care of these unfortunates, your target says, backing out of the room. You can vaguely make out his silhouette as he retreats down a hallway and through a door to his left. Well, it's not every day we get people stupid enough to hand-deliver their valuables to us, grins one of the larger bandits, unsheathing a rusty blade. We'll be killing you now.
Yeah, there's a pretty decent chance that that's true.
Joke's on them. If you had any valuables, you probably wouldn't be down here in the first place.
Okay, so here is the main interface. You can see some of our objectives over here based on the things that we've chosen. Here's all of the cards that we have access to. The way that we start this is we pick 2 cards for each mercenary. Those are the cards that we'll be able to play within the round. The turn order is based on initiative. So this number to the left is the initiative that the card has. The lower the initiative, the earlier you're going to go. And then when you have your 2 cards, you play one ability from the top of one card, and then you have to play the bottom ability from the other, or vice versa. If you can play the bottom from whichever card you want and then the top of the other. But you have to balance your cards like that. So if we're looking at stuff like this guy, he's got a big shield. Don't love that. He's going to be pretty strong. He's got 2 movement. If we hover here, he's got, where are we? 2 movement and 3 attack. This guy has 3 movement and 2 attack. So reversed there. 6 health, 9 health, and then 6 health over here. But this guy has a shield, so he's going to reduce 1 damage. Let's see. We're choosing as the brute. We can switch between each of these. But let's look and see if we have any AoE stuff. I do. I have like a 3-target AoE that we could hit, but it's kind of in a reverse order, so I can only really hit 2 of them based on that shape. There's no traps in the room. That's another thing we have to look for. And then we want to probably get through this door to get access to this other section. This is only the first room in the dungeon. So it's an interesting choice because this guy can move 2 and he can attack. And then these guys can move 1, 2, 3 and they can attack. So we should probably try it and go for a lower initiative. You don't always want to go first. If they're really far away, it's better to let them kind of come to you. I could probably get away with shielding up here. That wouldn't be too bad. So I could go like a shield bash there. We could also look to maybe do a stun and do decent damage on that big guy, preventing some of the damage coming in. Retaliate is pretty good. Retaliate 2, you gain plus experience each time you retaliate this round. This would be making him a target, and retaliate damage hits these guys for 2 every time they attack us. So maybe that's an option. What we could do is we could maybe go like attack all enemies moved through. 1, 2, 3. That's interesting. I think I'd have to probably pass them, but maybe it's just easier if I say, okay, 1, 2, 3. If I can find a move of 3, this one's fine. It is a jump, which lets me go through obstacles, but then I could set up some type of retaliate here for attacks to damage these guys. They're still going to hit me pretty hard, which is one of my concerns, but we have ways to mitigate that a bit. The other option is I just shield here. I shield up and then play retaliate and let them come to me. Maybe that's what I'll do, actually. Let's choose shield bash. The one that you pick first is your initiative roll. So we're picking something relatively low at 15. That's probably going to beat these guys. And then for you, what do I want to do here? I probably want to move you a little bit further away first. 1, 2, 3. If I were to move like here, they could still get in. So I'd have to go to this corner basically to make sure I don't get hit. And then I'm limited by my range. So perhaps what we want to do, if we want to move first, we want to have a low initiative number. So sticking somewhere in here. I could do my move on the bottom of this card. But then what else am I going to put up here? That's the challenge. I need a range of 3. So if I come over here, 1, 2, 3, that's not going to quite do it. Create 1 6 damage trap in an adjacent empty hex. Gain +2 when the enemy is when the trap is sprung. And the 2 is that's XP basically. I can summon a decoy, which is pretty nice. Now you'll notice this little flaming icon. That means this card's going to be burned, which means I can only play it once. Ink Bomb is pretty good. It's got a range of 3, and I can do some decent damage on them. So maybe we'll do something like this. Maybe I will stay here and kind of we'll finesse our way in there for some hits. Let's just do an energizing tonic to go low initiative. And then maybe net shooter. This immobilizes the group as well. I can't hit all 3 just based on their current position, but I could hit 2, which wouldn't be bad. But then that kind of goes against having him tank some hits. I don't even know if that's what we want to do. Maybe we just do like a flamethrower type thing. Let's do this. Okay, so you can see the initiative rolls here. And if we highlight each one, you can see what their intents are, which is very nice. Our brute is going to go first. So we said we'll probably shield and then retaliate. So he's going to reduce their incoming damage by 1. Now, this can change a little bit based on these attack modifier decks that everybody has. So our individual mercenaries each have attack modifier decks. Every time we attack, something good or bad can happen to that attack. You can negate all damage completely. You can get ×2 damage. You can subtract damage, add damage. And you can see the weights of these are much higher in that mid region. So it's really unlucky if you get, you know, this one, or the ×2 would be very lucky in this case. And there's ways to manipulate this. Enemies also have attack modifiers, you can see there, but it's shared by all the enemies. So it's not individual. Let's go ahead and do retaliate here. So he's just sitting here, which is, I guess, okay. Yeah, it would have been nice. Maybe I should have tried to roll this guy a little bit higher. Actually, I could do this another way. Let's see. If I wanted to move over... Oh, this is melee too. I already messed up. And if I put him in here, he's definitely going to die. All right. Well, let's do the shield. And that means he's going to have 2 there. And I can just actually skip this ability. It's very defensive to start, but I want them going after him, so we're just going to let them play this out. Okay, now, when we get attacked, there's a couple things we can do. We can either burn one of our cards that are available, and this means we will not have it available to play throughout the entire rest of this scenario, or we can just receive the damage. And if it's a low damage, I'm going to receive it. If it's high, then we'll burn. Once we have discards, we can burn discarded cards as well. So there's his retaliate kicking in. Now, retaliate and traps, these don't really count as normal attacks. So it goes through any shields. Okay, that worked out great. Phenomenal. Okay, now, notice when we're switching between these two guys, we've started with some low initiative cards that are discarded. We can get these back by doing rests, but you kind of have to balance that for the long-term pace of your game. So one thing we could do is grab like a restorative mist, where I can move back here behind him. He would take a heal. Seems like a pretty good option. And then I need something. I've got range here. Do you have any, like... We could ink bomb 2 of these guys to get 4 damage in. That's not bad, actually. And I think grabbing a combo of low initiative and higher initiative is nice. Higher typically is a little bit more powerful. So that's a good start for him. I can disarm, which means they can't attack on the next turn, and maybe I just hit the first guy with that. And then looking at the bottom source of cards, we could do something like... maybe I just use, like, Spare Dagger. So I go Provoking Roar, Spare Dagger for more attacks. And we're going to be definitely acting earlier than them. Okay, so let's see. We're going to disarm this guy. Oh, see, now we got the ×2 damage. So we actually got 4. Now notice our ×2 is grayed out because it's been used up. But because he had the shield, that was reduced by 1. He is disarmed now, though, so he can't attack next turn. And if I want to, I could attack him again, but being that this is only 2, I'm going to attack one of the weaker guys to try and clear one on this. Oh, and we just rolled. We got super lucky and then super unlucky. We negated all the damage with the attack modifiers. Good and bad news, those are both out of the attack modifier deck now. So we can more safely assume that we're going to be in this middle range. That's really funny how that worked out, but... that's what happens. That's what happens. Okay, so now let's do a little move into... Oh, I guess... Oh, maybe this isn't a tile. I thought that was a tile. My bad. Let's put you on this side. Heal all adjacent allies as well for 1. That's fine. And then we've got the ink bomb. So we're going to get 1 XP for each enemy targeted. This is also going to infuse an element, which brings another layer of complexity, but also power to the battlefield. And I'll show you what that means in a second. So here, you'll notice that we have this hex shape based on the shape of the card. You can hit R and you can rotate this. This is really important sometimes based on the shape. But for here, we're likely just going to go for this. If we don't roll a bad modifier, which is possible because they're all open for this mercenary, then we could kill one of these guys, which would be great. And actually, maybe I'm going to target this side because... Oh, here's another thing to think about. Okay, I could target this side, yes, but you notice that flashing icon? So any ranged attack, if you're doing this in a tile next to somebody, you have disadvantage, which means that you're going to actually draw 2 attack modifier cards out of your attack modifier deck, and the lowest one is going to count. So that would be pretty bad here. So actually, I'm going to forego that, and if we take a hit, I can survive it. It's not the end of the world. So let's do this. We're going to confirm this so we don't have the disadvantage. Hopefully we don't roll low here. Got 0, so he's dead. Excellent. And he took 3, which is also excellent. And we can end the turn. Now you'll notice gold dropping here. This is going to be very important to build up our economy. And it's a little tricky to get, but I'll show you how we do that on the turn. You have to basically end your turn. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we took 4 damage there. Is there a card that I'm not interested in? Like, grab and go is pretty nice because you can move very far. I don't want to get rid of Sweeping Blow. Overwhelming Assault is insanely strong. Leaping Cleave is AoE. Warding Strength is an attack and a push. And shielding. So we could burn the card, or we could just receive the 4 damage. We could heal this later. Or I could get rid of 2 discarded cards. I think, because we can do some healing with Tinkerer, we're going to just receive the damage here. This guy can't attack this turn anyway. All right, so now I need 2 damage, in theory, on this guy, which means if I wanted to, I could just move over here. Now, here's another interesting thing about these cards. You'll notice there's a little on the left and right side that are connected to the top and bottom in the middle of the card. There's this attack button and a movement button. You always have a default of 2 attack and a default of 2 move if you don't want to use this ability. So keep that in mind, because this ability here, this will burn the card, but I could just use it as a move if I wanted to, which I might. I think what I probably end up doing here is I use this move to get in close, and then I could take... they're not close enough for that. I do need 4 damage, so I guess I could take like my Overwhelming Assault to be my attack, right? And then here, do I have any other healing? I do need to deal at least 2 damage, not accounting for any attack modifiers. This would do 1, but inflict a stun. There's a nice heal that I could use. Do I have any attacks on the bottom? If I'm going to use Reinvigorating Elixir. I could use this as a heal on the bottom, and then just use this as my attack. And it's a low initiative card as well. Let's do something like that. Okay. Oh, they actually had some really low initiative cards here. So this is going to be interesting to see how this works out. Let's see how they decide to do this. This could hurt a bit. So he's going to buff. He's got 2 shields now. I'm going to receive the 2 and take poison. But we are going to heal, hopefully. Poison will do 1 damage at the start of our turn. if I heal, I can get rid of that. Now, them having these extra shields, that does suck considerably. That said, we're gonna do this. We could put poison on. We also infuse elements. I forgot to talk about that, but we'll get to that in a second. I don't really want to summon a decoy, I don't think. It's not bad. But I think we'll save that. Okay, so I'm going to attack with 2 here. It's going to put on the poison, which will kill him on the next turn through the shields. Unless he has some type of heal, but I don't think these guys will have that. And then I can heal our friend here. So let's start with this. It's going to be no damage, but he's got poison, so he will die on the next turn. And then I can heal here. Cool. And we're also not burning these cards, which is nice. That's something to consider, because if you burn all your cards, then your guy can't do anything, and he's exhausted, and he's dead. So that sucks. Okay, and then the brute. I think we're just going to move in here. And unless I get very unlucky, this should work. We got to skip the rest of our movement. This is going to burn the card. There, we got the 0 modifier, so we got 5 damage total, which is enough. Some XP there. End his turn. And now these guys, doesn't really matter, I don't think. If we do, here's something to think about between the rests. So a long rest, you're gonna burn the long rest card to recover all other discarded ones. You're gonna heal a bit, and you'll refresh all of your spent item cards. So this is really powerful, and I think I'll do this just to get a little bit of extra healing going, because we don't need to do anything this round. And then here, I might do something similar just to get these cards back. We could also, actually, I don't think we need to do that. I don't think we need to. I'm going to try and get some loot here. Let's pick like a net shooter and stun shot for now. Let's see what he does here now. He should die from the poison. He should die from the poison? How come he's not dying from the poison? I thought he died from... I don't think the shield blocks poison, does it? All he did was go and gain strength, and he has retaliate now. Huh. Okay. Interesting. I'm probably misunderstanding something, but that's fine. I'm not going to attack him because of retaliate. So what we'll do this turn is we'll just go to pick up some gold. And that's enough. I think that's all we need to do. I'm going to skip my attack, and we'll just pick this up. Brute's turn. He's long resting, so we're going to use this. There's probably a more efficient way to do it, but that's life. Select an ability card to burn, then gain 2 health. What do I want to burn here? Let's get rid of this one. We get all the others back. Now this guy, okay, so now his retaliation is off. I guess maybe I misunderstood the poison. That's possible. Very possible. We only need 2 damage, so this is fine. And we'll grab like a loot and go. Or a grab and go here. And then we'll pick something like a heal and a 4 movement to maybe get into the next room or get a little closer. Okay, so we are going to act first. We're going to attack here. And assuming we don't get a negative, we got a +1, so it's actually more than enough. I'm going to have to refresh my understanding of the poison. I could go into the next room, but if I do, they're going to act there as soon as we get in there. So I'm just going to take this, skip. Oh, actually, I guess it didn't matter. We could use either one, but we'll, yeah, what I should have done what I should have done is used a loot 1 here, because this loots everything in your vicinity. I could have just stayed there and found something that had an attack on the bottom, maybe. But that's okay. We'll bring you... Let's see. One adjacent ally may recover all their discarded cards. That's pretty cool. But we're going to do this. We're going to heal. So he's back up to 9. We'll use 4 to move over here. Get that gold. And that's like our first tiny encounter. And we still have to move on. So, yeah. Now it's just us. And we have to decide, okay, 1, 2, 3 to get into there. Do I have any 3 moves? I do. I've got Leaping Cleave. And then when I'm in there, what's going to be my options? Maybe a ranged attack from Spare Dagger. And we probably actually want to pick Spare Dagger first. So we do... Yeah, we go Leaping Cleave first, and then we'll move in, and hopefully they're within 3, but they might not be. And then here, you know what? Maybe what we do... Let's just do a short rest. I'll burn a card at random right now. Restorative Mist. Let's redraw. It's going to hurt us by doing this. The Decoy, we have to burn now. That's kind of unfortunate. A little bit of unluckiness there. Now, I don't want to start with him. I want to start with my other mercenary, my brute. So I want to pick something over 27 first. Let's see. So anything in this section will be fine to pick first. Ranged heal, close-up attack, enhancement field. Yeah, this could work. Create 1 6 damage trap in an adjacent empty hex, and then hook gun. We could maybe pull someone towards us as well. Let's actually try that. That'll be our first one, and then we'll have a movement as well. Okay. So Brute's turn. We're gonna jump into the door now. And hello. So these guys, they can move 2, and then they have a range of 4. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So he won't... This archer will not be able to hit us this turn. These guys, however, looks like their attacks do poison. And what's their movement like? 3? So these guys can definitely get in here. Good thing I picked this one, because we do have some range, which is nice. Either one, I don't think it really matters. We got the +1 on our attack modifiers. That's very good. Our negatives and... Well, all of them are here because we switched the other... We switched the other mercenary. Yeah. See, this is also something to consider. That they roll for initiative after we come in here. But they went shields. That's okay. It's not horrible. So now, yes, I could pull these guys, but that's not really going to help me, is it? And my heal is also not really going to help me here. I could bring them up to 10. It's kind of a waste. Whereas if I move in, I'm burning this, and then I'm pulling someone. What's my range here? So it'd be cool if I could pull back there into one of these traps. Traps deal 3 damage each. So you can see when you hover over them. Huh. I guess my best bet is probably just to shoot this guy. Maybe I get really lucky on a modifier. 1, 2... Sorry, 1, 2... Oh, I might not even have the range. 1, 2, 3. I need to be on his tile. That's actually not going to work, which is unfortunate. So what I will do is come in here, and then I could just heal here, but it burns the card, so I might just skip this turn. I think I'm just gonna skip the attack. Now, let's talk about this really quick. So there's some elements that are popping up on the right side based on cards that we play. These are things that we can consume with specific cards to bolster the power of the cards. If we have one show up, I'll show you how to use it. But just be aware that these things pop up over here and are available for a limited period of time to bolster things. Okay, so we need to figure out something nasty here. Their shields are now gone. Sweeping blow could hit all these two if I'm in this tile. So that could be decent. That could be decent. This would kill this guy, assuming we don't roll weird on it like a damage modifier. So I could do like a shield bash to get a quick initiation. And then I go sweeping blow, I think. Kills this guy. This guy takes 2 damage. And then we have to worry about this later. How much damage can she put out here? 3? It's not great. Let's do that. And then now that we'll be moving up to here, let's see how we want to handle this after the fact. I would definitely want him moving first. This is a range of 3. I could immobilize an enemy, but if I'm putting him in here, immobilizing these guys doesn't really matter. What would be my best option here? You know what? The stun shot looks pretty good. Stun shot looks pretty good here. So I need to find a movement on the bottom. I only need really the 2 movement. Because if I'm here, I have attacks there and I can stun that guy. This is a decent heal. But I also have Restorative Mist. Recovering discarded cards, though, is really powerful. I think maybe Flamethrower, just for the movement, because this is going to be really hard to use on this class. We'll see how this goes. The Elite Archer got to go first. Really low initiative there. That's going to be rough. Oh, she rolled -2 on her attack modifier. And she's placing an additional trap. Okay. So let's use the movement in here. And then we're going to do Sweeping Blow. It's attacking both. Assuming our attack modifier is good. 0s, excellent. That's the little thing that pops up first. That's your attack modifier. Okay, so Brute's turn done. So far, so good. And then I come in here. And we're going to use the stun here. It won't be a kill or anything. But at least he won't be able to attack next turn. Oh, we got ×2 damage. Not the greatest card to get that on, but that's life. That's life. Now, here, this is an example of where you see the infusings on the Flamethrower. So, fire infuses the battlefield with a fire element available to be used after the current character's turn and is available for a single character to use for the rest of the current round. I don't see any other cards in our deck that actually use that yet, but we can create it. So, there might be some combos with that later on. Okay, so now I just need to punch this guy, basically. I have an attack with a pierce here of 3, which is good. Eye for an eye lets me go first. I could even heal myself a little bit and then go for... Oh, you know what we could do? So if I queue up Eye for an Eye here, okay, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at Trample. Trample would let me position myself behind this archer. If I go here, I mean, the archer could still move and then shoot to break the disadvantage. So I don't really have a good way of trapping her. Yeah, and then I could put on, like, the Retaliate. I think, let's just pick these, because those are our only options. And then I'll pick something low here. You know what? Actually, maybe I won't pick something low. Let's do Enhancement Field, so that we can maybe heal him at the end of this round. We'll just choose a little Restorative Mist. Okay. So let's see. We do our trample, and then we heal up, and then we take damage. Actually, oh, we're actually going to go first before the bandit archer. Okay. So maybe what I'll do then is I'll set my retaliate up. And then we'll use this to target enemies that I'm moving through. Let's do something like this. Now, because it's a jump, we're not going to trigger these traps. And because we're moving through there, we should do the 2 damage and end up next to her, giving her disadvantage and forcing her to move. We got the +1 on the attack modifier as well. That actually worked out really good. Now I've got our Tinkerer. What's your range again? Oh, 6. So you could hit anything. But I mean, your damage output is only 3. So yeah. I guess, okay, so this is showing us what they're planning on doing. I don't think she can also move then. I think we will get the disadvantage here. Let's see. I'll go here. And then we'll do the attack here. I'll take the 3. So, I'm not seeing the disadvantage on her. Why is that? It's a ranged attack. Huh. I don't think it came up there. Maybe it did. Maybe it did, and it was very quick, because you'll see the 2 things come up and it'll choose the weaker. Maybe she just got lucky there, because she has like a +2. But that couldn't have been the weaker one. I'm not sure. We're going to burn 2 cards because that's a lot of damage. Is it though? I can heal. We have lots of heals. I think I'm just going to take that. And then she takes the retaliate. And now we do a short rest. We get our cards back right away. Do we burn this one or do we keep that because of the heal? I think we keep this for the retaliate and the heal. Take 1 extra damage. Shield bash goes. That's fine. Let's go provoking roar so I can attack and heal. Let's do these 2. And then, do I have any other healing? Yeah, I've got reinvigorating elixirs. So that's on the top. So toxic bolt lets me attack. That does burn the card though. Maybe I use like an immobilize just so I don't have to burn it. We'll take this instead. Attack 4, range 6. It could be something to do with like having a higher status as well. Like this is a better enemy. Not exactly sure. This is going to disarm. We did roll low damage, of course. Why wouldn't we? We'll heal ourselves. We should still be in an okay position here. Do I burn this just to kill her? I think so. Alright, so she's gone. 1 adjacent ally may recover all their discarded cards. Can't really use that. Let's go here and get some gold. So, okay, this is the basics of the turn. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because this video could be extremely long, but I wanted to give you guys a really decent understanding of what the game is like. I apologize for my misunderstanding of the poison. I'm going to look into that. Same thing with the disadvantage on the ranged attacks. I'm curious. In the tutorial, it teaches that when you're next to a ranged enemy, they will get a disadvantage on attacks. And when that happens, they have to draw 2 attack modifiers, and they take the lowest option. so it's really bad. But it didn't look like that happened there unless I missed it. And the poison, I thought they would tick damage unless they healed on their turn, but maybe armor blocks that, but I don't think it does. Traps don't. Retaliate doesn't get blocked by armor. I don't think poison does, but that could be a little misunderstanding on my part. So anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed. This is a very deep game, and there's a lot of complexity here. So I hope that I've been able to distill some of it into something you guys can take away and make a decision on. I'll have links down below, as I said earlier. Thanks again to Asmodee for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to see like some streams of this game, this is one of those games I could fire up and be like 4 hours go by with me barely blinking. You know what I mean? So if you're into it, let me know, and I would consider playing it a lot more through some streams or some longer form gameplay. But yeah, anyways, I'll wait to hear from you guys. Appreciate you being here. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.